Let's take a look now what happens when we enter a patient screen. We open up onto the overview page, and in the top half, you'll be able to enter or edit any patient details. So if, for example, you've got a change of email address, or the patient has moved from the active phase to the maintenance phase of your program, you can update that here, or you can resend them an app invite if they can't find the one that has been sent. This part here about moving them from active to maintenance is important because you can use these features to search on patients and report on patients' weight loss trajectories throughout the active or maintenance phase. So that's a really important aspect to be aware of. Then we come down to the middle section where we see the key summary data. And this includes our patient's starting weight, height, waist circumference, and BMI, as well as their targets and where they are at the moment. We can also tell at a glance how much weight the patient has lost since starting with you, and also what weight that loss they've achieved in the time interval since the last consultation. This data is really useful for encouraging patients about their progress throughout the program. And over to the right, then we have this graphical or pictorial representation of their progress. And this is really helpful for identifying if there's any plateaus within their weight loss journey where treatment might need to be intensified, or to look back and to understand what has been happening at a certain time point. For example, if we can see that weight loss has slowed, what was happening around those months for that patient, or was it just a natural slowing of their weight loss during that time? Perhaps they were away on holidays, or there were birthday celebrations, or they went through a coronavirus pandemic. Whatever the case might be, you can make sense of the data by looking at the data points, and also you'll be able to tell if there's any notes associated with those data points to explain it. Here, because weight loss has been plateauing, we had the opportunity to intensify treatment and start the patient on a pharmacotherapy agent, which then helped their weight loss to kick on further. A very useful tool is the patient data checkbox. So if we select this checkbox and the patient has entered some data on their app, then that will show up as orange points in between the different data entered by the doctor. So we don't have that at this stage because this is a made up patient, but that can make sense, for example, if there's a long time interval between seeing the patient and their weight has actually gone up and then it's come down, that will be obvious to you and you'll be able to make sense of the advice that you give them from that point on. And that can be really helpful. And it's really useful with telehealth as well to be able to quickly and easily see where patients are up to with their weight. Then in the bottom half of the screen, we have the history. So every time a consultation is added, we can see the data and what occurred in that consultation. So for example, in this most recent data point, let's look at this one in March. We had a weight entered of 104 kilos. So that patient had lost that about zero point 0.6 over that sort of time period. And that's a total of 57 kilos over 63 weeks since the patient had started. And in that consultation, the doctor covered off on an educational module called Protein Power. If we keep scrolling to the right, we do have the opportunity to edit the data point. For example, if the information was added incorrectly and it was that needs to be updated, or we can remove that data point as well. A really handy one feature is this set as start. So if, for example, a patient came to see you on, say, the 6th of January, but they didn't start the program until, say, February, so a good, almost a month later, you can then elect to have that as your start date, and that will recalculate all of these features up in the top half, and also will rejig the graph, and it will also be reflected in the patient's app as well.